We've grown up conditioned to believe that fitting in is equivalent to succeeding, or that our level of success is determined by our ability to conform to societal expectations. As humans, we want to get along with others, and some may even believe that these inclinations are essential to our survival. But what if I told you that embracing who we truly are as a person and valuing our individual uniqueness could propel us towards greater success? A lot of times we undermine the power of uniqueness. It captivates, it inspires, and most importantly, creates a long lasting impact that ultimately reverberates throughout society. Think of entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. Their success didn't arise from blending in, but rather by leveraging their unique talents, perspectives, and passions. You may or may not have noticed, but Steve Jobs, also known as the co founder of Apple, he didn't just follow the footsteps of other tech companies when developing and launching the iPhones, MacBooks, etc. Instead, he challenged the status quo within these tech industries and focused heavily on the design and branding of products, which led to you purchasing his items. So, what does this tell us? It tells us that success and a feeling of accomplishment often lies in our courage to be our authentic self, as it unlocks our true potential and pushes us to embrace our uniqueness. Let's talk a bit more about how uniqueness may be linked to popularity by looking at the similarity attraction theory popularized by Ellen Burchard and Elaine Hadfield. Here, the theory demonstrates that we tend to be attracted to like-minded individuals. In other words, people who have a shared values or a shared attitudes are more likely to work well with one another due to their inherent compatibility, hence increasing their success in various domains. Now, a lot of the times we have the tendency to adjust our own behaviors with hopes of assimilating into a group of individuals, either to be recognized or to seek external validation. This is what we call fitting in. Fitting in also implies playing it safe or stepping away from risks and obstacles. Failure ultimately becomes more prevalent when a person decides to stop fitting in. And this brings us to the next point. The fear of failure and uncertainty of the future are the key factors as to why we continue to fit in, despite knowing that pursuing our own interests might lead to greater outcomes. What we need to realize here is that though fitting in may provide us with a sense of belonging and comfort, it acts as a barrier for us to access opportunities for self-discovery. Embracing failures challenges our ability to have the determination and resilience to recover from our setbacks. It serves as a catalyst for growth and improvement, rather than a reason for embarrassment or shame. According to the Harvard Law School Forum on Corporate Governance, failure is highly prevalent in the entrepreneurial world, with 75% venture-backed startups not succeeding immediately. However, this does not equate to long-term failure, because it simply highlights the necessity of failing in order to become one step closer to success. It is through these minor setbacks where we learn valuable lessons and become a better version of ourselves. Now, I want you to picture the 2 to 3 people you're closest to right now. Do you feel pressure to act a certain way whenever you guys hang out? If you don't, that's amazing. But if you do, think again from another perspective. Are they the ones you immediately go to whenever you're facing a significant challenge or when you want to share something personal? Truth is, the key to building a strong and genuine connection with others is by having the ability to act or behave in a way that transcends the boundaries of conformity. An example I'd like to introduce now is based on my personal experience around 4 to 5 years ago. I used to attend a local school before transferring to Island School. In my previous school, success was defined based on one's academic capability or potential. And because of that, it inherently fostered a really competitive environment, laying the foundation for the subsequent development of ingenuine connections. However, I personally was very fortunate because I was a part of a friend group where we all shared similar values while being incredibly supportive of one another. So, despite being in a small friend group of around 5 people, I would say that my primary and early high school experience was equally as rewarding. And I even got to experience things such as being a part of a school band when I was 12 or 13 years old. The need for acceptance is a basic human instinct, so it might seem sensible to act or behave in a way in order to gain a sense of belonging. Whenever we're trying to fit in, we're essentially taking on a new identity, an identity that perhaps seemed the most applicable to the circumstances we're in. However, what we need to understand is that though fitting in, again, provides us with a sense of belonging, the continuous habit of trying to fit in would ultimately reach what we call the self-presentation theory, popularized by Erving Goffman, a Canadian-American sociologist. According to Goffman, individuals feel more motivated to act in a way that helps elicit a desired reaction from others. These individuals, by aligning their values with the self-presentation theory, they might be able to establish a sense of friendship. But deep down, they might experience a sense of loneliness because they have not yet reached that level of intimacy or trust where they feel comfortable sharing more about their personal experiences. They have solely scratched the layer, the very top layer, of fostering genuine connections. Now, after talking about the importance of being yourself and why you shouldn't fit in, you guys might be wondering, so how can I be myself or resist the urge to fit in? Well, being yourself is actually quite simple, and it follows these 4 steps. First, I want you to identify your personal values. What are the most important things in your life? What brings you happiness? Or what are your priorities? Next is self-talk and changing the way you think. Understand and identify your strengths and weaknesses, but never feel ashamed of any of the weaknesses you may have. Because understand that life is solely a long journey and there are so many opportunities for you to grow and develop as a person. Number 3, setting realistic goals for yourself. A lot of times we tend to set unrealistic goals for ourselves, hence the reason why it takes us so much effort to accomplish them. So I recommend you to align all your goals with the values you've identified from step 1. Because this way, not only will your goals be more appealing, they will also be more achievable in the long run. Finally, try to surround yourself with positive people. But by the time you've accomplished the first 3 steps, you will inevitably find yourself being surrounded by quote-unquote the right people. And that is because, as I've mentioned earlier, when you try to be your authentic self, you immediately attract people who are also happy and content with their lives. Again, fitting in isn't always the key to success. It may work for 2% of the population, but if you truly want to succeed, you have to run against the grains of societal norms. You have to embrace your uniqueness. You have to accept these failures. And most importantly, and at the end of the day, you have to learn the importance of growing and recovering from your setbacks. It may seem daunting or even intimidating taking that first step to becoming yourself, but I can assure you that the outcome will be immensely rewarding. Thank you.